Anthony Curtis, who's the director of SolarRun. Thanks for joining us today, Anthony.
No worries, guys.
Excellent stuff. So, Anthony, how'd you get into solar?
I started solar probably about 16 years ago now. So I run an electrical business, and then I started subcontracting, installing solar, and then I started selling and installing solar, and then did that for a number of years, and then now 8 years ago started SolarRun.
And what got you into it? Did you always like it, or?
No, I just sort of fell into it. It was one day, one of my mates said, "Do you want to help me out installing solar?" I said, "Yeah, why not?" Loved it and haven't stopped since. So I was, one of the original people installing solar 16 years ago.
Were you always a business guy, or again, you fell into it?
My dad was always a business owner, so he was a builder by trade. And then as soon as I finished my apprenticeship doing electrical, I think the week after I finished my apprenticeship, I started my own business.
Oh, really? So you haven't actually worked for anyone else?
Just my apprenticeship, that is literally it.
So you never missed that thrill of working for someone else?
I could not go back. Owning your own business, it's super hard, a lot of hours, but I could not do anything else rather than own my own business.
And you are a Melbourne boy, born and bred, or
yes,
originally from here?
Born and bred in Melbourne, always grown up in Glenwaverley, Willis Hill, all of those areas. Because my dad was a builder, I think I've lived in 17 different homes. Every 2 years, we just moved and moved and moved. So a lot of brand new homes along the way, but I'm an expert at moving homes now.
Yeah. It's interesting, like the solar industry, like originally when we met, it was still at that cusp of taking off. So that was 7 years ago. Now, where do you see it now? Do you think it's just entrenched in society?
Well, look, Labor just won the election, and the whole election was either about nuclear or about renewables. And, obviously the people were speaking about renewables. It's the cheapest form of energy. People can own it. It's on their home. They get the most amount of savings. So solar just keeps on getting bigger and bigger. People's usage goes up. People, like in Victoria especially, the government is now got rebates involved in trying to get rid of gas. So all of your gas heating, your hot waters, all of that now is turning into electricity. So solar systems are getting bigger and bigger now.
Yeah, you were mentioning the other day where because people are having to go to more electricity models, their bills are going to be more expensive in their houses, and that's a good way that solar can obviously cap that and work with it.
God, it's absolutely fantastic. It's a no-brainer. When I first started solar, we were selling 2 kilowatt systems, and then I've got an old ad in my phone. We're selling a 3 kilowatt solar system for $10,000. Now, you can buy a 6.6 kilowatt system for $2.5. So prices have completely gotten way cheaper. And our average size system now is 11 a kilowatt. When we go to someone's home, it's just about, let's fill their roof.
Yeah. And do you see that stopping, or do you see it just getting more and more entrenched in the market?
Getting more and more entrenched. We got a lot of old customers now calling us up, "Hey, you're installed solar. I've got my return on investments been on for 8-9 years now. We're ripping that off and installing an even larger solar system because their home usage has completely changed." Yeah.
All right. And is it any particular group that's buying these, or is it across the board? It's not demographically skewed or anything like that.
It's literally across the board. Anyone that owns a home gets solar. It's a complete no-brainer. Everyone knows multiple people that have bought solar. Remember when I first started selling solar, you had to convince people that solar worked. I think it took me about 2 years in the solar industry, and my dad goes, "Oh, this is propaganda. Solar doesn't work. You're ripping people off." I got sick of it all, and I go, you know what, I'm just going to install solar. I sold solar on his home for absolutely free just to shut him up. And then he goes, "Oh, it does work." I go, "What do you think I've been doing for the last 2 years, ripping people off, and this doesn't work?" But that's how it started. People didn't believe solar worked. Now it's a no-brainer, but half your conversation was showing people that solar actually works and they will save money. It sounds stupid now, but that's how it was 16 years ago.
Yeah. And that cynicism has just gone. I think now it's a lot of people trying to find the best deals.
Absolutely.
Trying to find the best rate as well. And how's it faring with all of these things going on within the world, tariffs, and we're in the midst of all of these, shocks in the market that you really can't predict with tariffs with America, China. How does that affect this market you're in?
Look, we're pretty lucky. It hasn't affected our market, whatsoever. The only thing that affects our market is the price of electricity keeps on going up and up and up, and that's worldwide, and that's not going to stop. So higher the price of electricity, the more demand people want on solar. So, it actually works pretty well for us.
Yeah, especially with the cost of living and people wanting to save as much money as they can.
Oh, it's a big thing. People, are sick of paying $4,000 to $5,000 a year in electricity. How can I reduce that to, $500 or $600 a year? The only way is solar. People are now buying, electric cars are super popular. One electric car doubles someone's home's usage. So the electricity bill is going to double. Husband and wife both get an electric car. That's 3 times the usage. And then solar's just, if you have an electric car and you don't have solar, something's wrong with you, because it's an absolute no-brainer.
And the other side of it is, when did you get into the franchise part of it?
So that was, coming on 8 years now. I suppose one of the reasons why I started franchising in the first place, I had a pretty good, successful solar business. And I just thought, how do I expand my business, but still give the personal touch to a customer? And, that I won a lot of my jobs and got a lot of referrals because of the quality of the work we did. So how can I replicate that? And honestly, the only way was franchising. How could I, we're in Victoria, New South Wales, Queensland, SA. No way I could manage a solar business, that large by myself, where franchisees, they're going into people's homes, giving them quality service. It's the best model, and I love that I did that in the first place.
And how's it just been refined over the years, that franchise model?
Look, 8 years now, it's mature. We've still got franchisees that started the journey with us, and you speak to them, they're like, I can't believe how raw it was 7 or 8 years ago. And they're just like, every year it's improved and improved. And even franchisees that may have came on 2 years ago, even they say it just keeps on getting better and better, our business. We've got more resources, more staff, really good quality franchisees. We're growing. Super proud of the team.
So not faking it till you make it anymore. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, I gotta say, I think every business when it starts, it's super raw. You're grinding it every single day. And now I'm really happy that we're a mature business. Things are running well, and now it's just getting better and better.
I was going to say, do you have any advice to anyone looking to franchise their business?
I would say get a mentor. Honestly, I got a business mentor now, and I probably wish I had a franchising mentor when I first started, because I've made a lot of mistakes along the way. But that's business. You sort of got to make mistakes and learn, and you don't make the same mistake twice. But 100% mentor.
How did you get that mentor? How did you find that?
I didn't have a mentor. That was my problem.
You have one now.
I have one now. So that came through a recommendation.
Yeah.
So, and he's been on board for about a year and a half now. Just the best thing that's ever happened to my business. As you grow as a business person, there's always someone above you that knows what's happening next. And he just sees what's going to happen before I see it, and prepares me for the decisions that are going to happen in the future, rather than being so reactive. That's the same thing I tell franchisees. Is getting a business mentor, helping them through the process and helping them through their journey. Because business mentor, that's their job, is knowing what's going to happen before you do, stopping you from making those mistakes.
It's something that a lot of people in your position do. And it takes them a while to figure that out, that you need someone there who's been there and done it. Not just telling you what to do, but being that guiding hand. I mean, because even if you look at history, people who are presidents or kings or whatever, they have that same, advisor or minister helping them do that. I mean, do you recommend that to each one of your franchisees or do you actually provide that service?
We recommend it to franchisees, but I feel like as a business, we're also mentoring these franchisees in business. We're having one-on-ones. We, setting business plans. We're walking through that with them. So I definitely, compared to when a franchisee first starts with us, their business acumen compared to year 1, year 2, year 3, 100% they're just better in business regardless, and understanding numbers and all that type of stuff. So it's something I really pride myself in with the franchisees, that they actually become business people and they learn a lot, and that's something they're going to carry for the rest of their lives. Because I've been on that business journey for like 20 years now, and I've had to learn it all myself and made all the mistakes, and don't want these guys to make the same mistakes that I have.
Like, you really meet a business person like yourself who hasn't been a really tough spot. Like, like often I've heard, if you haven't been in the position where you can't make the pay run next week and figured a way out of it, you haven't really been in that situation of where you really have fought your way through. So any advice for any owners, apart from getting into franchising, any owners who are sort of in that situation where they're trying to move away or make that break from just an idea or a concept where we're getting by to getting to that point where you're starting to actually scale it right now?
Firstly, business mentor. Can't afford one of those, don't have access to one of those. Surrounding yourself around other business owners. I'm pretty lucky. I've got a brother who's a business owner as well. Like, I always say, business can be quite lonely by yourself. And I say with franchising, you got other business owners, so you're not lonely, but it can get very lonely. So you need someone else to be a sounding board and just run things past. Like I say, it's been, to be honest, huge just in the early years, having my brother there just to bounce things off between each other as both business owners. That's helped, but highly recommend the people that you surround yourself with is super important. If you can surround yourself around a couple of other business owners, and I find business owners are super great with their time and they share a lot. Like, I think most successful people will tell you everything. And like, that's why I've always been around good quality people, and you ask them questions. And like, I always think about, even when I was an apprentice, a lot of the electricians there were jealous of the boss. He's making money, this and that. And I'm just like, well, yeah, good on him. He's done a good job. How about you learn from him to replicate what he's done? So I've always been, when someone got heaps of money, got a good business, mate, that's absolutely fantastic. Tell me how you got there. That's the part that I care about. What's jealousy going to do for you? It's not going to do anything.
Yeah, agree.
Better to learn from them than compete with them.
Yeah, and that's regardless of what industry. That's why I say, like, great, they're driving a Ferrari, fantastic. I want to drive one too. Tell me your story. How did you get there? And they'll all tell you, how they got there. Majority of it's hard work. And they'll all tell you as well, like, I remember the days when I didn't have money. I struggled to make a pay run. I was stressing every single day in the bank account. Like, that's what builds a real businessman, to be honest, is that hard journey.
Absolutely.
And every business owner's been through there, or majority have. When you're out on the other side of it, it's super rewarding, but it is scary. And that's why they say we're helping franchisees through that journey. You're helping them not make the same mistakes that most other business owners make, and especially in solar. We know that industry back to front.
I think that we've kind of briefly touched on new franchisees, and it's always good to cover like what you think makes an ideal franchisee for your business, and also kind of what they do as well.
I was on the phone to a potential franchisee today, and we were talking about his experience, and he asked me exactly the same question. And when I speak to a franchisee, and what I look for is someone who's got sales experience, someone who's got good communication skills, and hard work. Like, honestly, hard work is really, really important in business. You got to have that work ethic. Like I tell people, you got the flexibility in running your own business. It's still a lot of hours, but you get to choose when you work those hours. So the thing that I love about what I do, like, I work 10, 12-hour days. It's, and I enjoy it. I absolutely love what I do. 12-hour day, it's nothing for me. But if my daughter's got, or either of my daughters have got a basketball tournament on a Friday, that's during the day, I can take that time off and I can always be there. I don't need to ask a boss, can I go to my daughter's basketball game, or can I go to their parent-teacher night, anything like that. It just happens, and I can work later at night. I can work on the weekend. That's what I love about my business.
Yeah. And I think another thing that's so incredible is like as a franchisor, you're still very heavily involved with your franchisees as well. Like you're still recruiting them, talking to them, working with them and coaching them. And that's incredible.
Yeah, they regularly come past the office, say hi, ask for my advice or call up. I'm definitely very involved in the business. I absolutely love, what I do.
Yeah. And we've also been in the office with you to see some of the franchisees. There is a lot of mateship there as well, like the ones we met who were just happy to be in that place with you. So,
and also friendly with each other.
They're friendly with each other. So it is like a pseudo little family you've created there.
It sounds weird. You're saying, it's a franchise and it sounds like it's like a family. It honestly does feel like a family. When we go to conferences or franchisees meet up, they're genuinely really good friends and they are like family. Like when you guys came in, the guys started making jokes about each other.
Yeah, exactly.
And in front of us, no care about anything else.
They've got really good relationships. They actually can call each other up. And we've got a WhatsApp group with all the franchisees on there. Someone asks a question, within the next 5 minutes, you got like 3 or 4 people answering the questions for them. So we've just it's been really important to create that family-like experience. Like I say, I felt lonely in business, and I don't want franchisees to feel that same way. That's why I say I really want them surround them around good quality people. If you feel like you need no questions, call franchisees up. They don't need me to be the mediator between the two. You got their number, call them up, go meet up a coffee. It's the best.
Yeah, and have you ever seen any of these guys that you wrote off? They go, I'm going to take them on as a franchisee, but they've surprised you and taken it to the next level.
I've seen heaps of those people. Sometimes you think, can this guy make it? They're a sort of 50-50 and sometimes you sort of try to convince someone out of, joining SolarRun and they've sort of got to convince you to say, yes, I'm good enough. And then, it's honestly, the hard work trumps talent for sure. They work their absolute ass off and that's how they succeed. And they're always asking questions and they're always, bettering themselves. So, like I say, one of those things, what makes a great franchisee? Hard work and a great work ethic, super important in business.
And it's an interesting question, though. And don't take it the wrong way, but how come there are so many subcontinental people that apply for SolarRun? Because we deal with a lot of inquirers across the board in franchising that's occurring. Don't get me wrong. But do you have a take on it? I know you're from your background's Croatian, isn't it?
Yeah, correct, yeah.
Yeah, so you've got like a bit of an understanding, like immigrant background or whatever, but do you have a take on why, maybe not subcontinental, but so many people of different backgrounds would apply for this?
I think they see their parents struggle and they want to provide for their family and take control of what they provide for their family. Generally, they're really hard workers in a job. They go, hey, I'm working so hard and putting so many hours and I love my job, but I don't get the result that I want. And they go, hey, if I work that hard in my own business, then I can provide more for my family.
Yeah. And culturally, that's there as well. If you that ability to be your own boss, to drive it, because it sort of takes it away from relying on the rest of society to give you it. Like you're going in there and building it up yourself. And you're like the master of your destiny, you could say.
Yeah.
I think it's a very appealing concept for people especially when it's a growth business with systems in place. And I've noticed that as well. Like if the franchises that appeal to that demographic and make it work for them expand really well. So I think that's a great thing you're doing. But I just wanted to understand, are there any specific cultural traits you reckon that drive the growth of the franchise?
Not particularly. Like I say, I get all walks of life come in as a franchisee. I just see a lot of people where they're currently working, they look to get the experience. Like they know, hey, I'm working for someone, but my goal in 5 years is to work for myself. So they sort of try gain the experience knowing they want to be a business owner, in 5 or 6 years time, and they surround themselves with the right people. They got that same work ethic. The last 5 years, they've been working just as hard as a business owner to then, and they go, look, I've always wanted to start my own business, and I need support, and that's why they're coming to us. They know 100% they want to start their own business. They don't know how to. They don't know how to start a business. And to be honest, like I say, it's super hard starting your own business. So they seek someone who can help and support them, running a business. Like myself, I was probably 5 or 6 years into running my own business, and I joined a franchise myself. It was Laser Electrical back then. So I had the same thing. I was 5 years in business. Like, firstly, looking back, I probably should not have started my own business the day that I got my electrical license. That was probably one mistake. I probably should have spent the next 3-4 years working for a few different companies and understanding how a business worked.
Yeah.
But I was just super keen, like I say, I love to work. So I started working by myself. And then, it was like 5-6 years in, I go, hey, there's a lot that I don't know here. Here, and how do I expand my business? Like, I know I can work hard. I know I've got the work ethic. I know I run a pretty good business, but how do I expand? So I joined Laser Electrical, and I learned a lot from that. And I'd say I seeked myself someone who's better than me and someone who's got systems and processes. And that's part of why I sort of, created SolarRun, because say I was that person, that's the same people are coming to me now.
Yeah. And I think from that, so if someone comes and joins the SolarRun franchisee, what can success look like for them?
I think personally, success is different to a lot of people. We've got people, say, earning, 200, 250K a year, and they're not happy because they want to earn 350, 400. Then you got people that earn $150,000, but they got, work-life balance and they want to pick up the kids. So I think just success is up to you. Like, when a franchisee comes on board, I ask them that, what do you want out of this? And I say, because it's so different for everyone. Some people, I want to expand. I want 3-4 people. I want to be turning over $200,000-300,000 a month. And we've got that pathway and we can show them how to do it. And you got people that, want to earn good money, but still want to spend time with their family. So, we'll help them with, admin staff. We'll help them with appointment setters. So all of the, peripherals of a business is done for them.
And that's the fantastic thing about being able to join SolarRun and being able to join a franchise is you can have your own journey. You're not tapped into, this is your job, this is what you can earn, this is your potential. It's you make it what you want to make it.
That's why I ask, where do you want to take this? And I'll give you the answer on what that looks like and the journey to get there. And I think as a business owner, you don't know those answers. And I see it every day. They'll go, I want this. Well, okay, that franchisee is, say, Duncan. He's exactly where you want to be. This was his journey. How about you actually go speak to him, because that's where you want to be, and ask him what that journey looked like and what mistakes he made to get there as well and what he's learned. And that's part of franchising. Like I said, we are like a family. Like, the guys are really honest and want to help each other out. They're genuine. They're just genuine people. Like, I really love every franchisee that we've got.
And where do you want to take business? Are you looking to conquer the world? Do you want hundreds of franchises? Do you want Oz, international? What's your longer term vision for the business?
So at the moment, we've got about 16 franchisees in Victoria, 5 in New South Wales, 2 in South Australia, and 1 in Queensland. So I really want to expand into New South Wales, Queensland, and South Australia. And then potentially WA. Problem with WA is it's a completely different time zone. But yeah, I really want to really conquer all of Australia. My ultimate goal would be to start SolarRun in the US. If I say I had a dream, what would that look like? It's SolarRun in the US.
Wow. And does anyone do it there?
Not really. There's no big franchise models over there. And I don't think anyone's got the systems and processes and everything that we have going on here. Like, it's been nearly 8 years of development. We've got 3 full-time developers that work with us. We're always improving. I'm literally hands-on with these guys, making things better and better.
And how about in Asia?
I haven't really looked at it. I just know the industry in America is really lucrative. They've got larger homes. Sort of my take on Asia, a lot of smaller homes and things like that. So probably wouldn't be my next thing if I had an option. 100%. It's the US.
No, interesting, because it's also the case there that the size of the market is so huge, but I'm not sure the understanding is at the level that we have here. And I also haven't seen an equivalent business out there as well.
Yeah, over in America, they sell differently. So a lot of their systems are PPAs.
Yeah.
So I've got one of our franchisees, his daughter lives in the US. Like a solar system here would cost about 10 grand. Exactly the same solar system over there is $28,000. And he's like, Anthony, you need to go to the US. I'm like, I'm already thinking about it. So it's a very lucrative place down there for sure.
Yeah.
Why is it so expensive over there?
Don't know. All I know is a lot of sales guys are driving Lambos over there. so I think commissions are pretty high there. It's just such an untapped market, and they're just doing extremely, extremely well.
It's the same thing in our business, like brokerage style transaction businesses. It's just, for some reason over there, commissions are higher, sales are higher, deals, structures, people are willing to pay more for it each time. But what I always find is the level of sophistication in Oz is pretty high. So it would be a great dream if you can start moving that into an international market as well, because the systems you've probably got here are better than most.
Well, I agree. What we do in Australia, like I think we're a very smart country, like even all of our research and, all the medications and all that, I think we do things really well. And I think why? I think our work ethic in Australia is very good. I think when I look at America, I don't think they actually work as hard as people do in Australia. And I think that just comes from determination, and we love systems and all that type of stuff. So yeah, I think we do a lot of things really, really well in Australia that if we move to the US, would kick ass for sure.
And even New Zealand as well. It's like we've got because we run a magazine out of New Zealand as well, franchise media, and finding that the market there, wherever you can't rely on a gigantic market. Like Australia is still big, but not as big as the US. You still have to try and be innovative, keep your structures tight, keep all of your operations to the point where you can actually make money out of a smaller market. You don't have that luxury of relying on 500 million people. And I think if you can get it tight here, it does work really well around the world as well. So it's pretty, there's an opportunity there. I know you've got, you're not like an old guy, so there's plenty of time to go to get to this one.
And that's where I think why SolarRun is so successful and why we, getting to all around Australia is our business model works. So if a, solar business, had 10 or 15 staff in Victoria, just means they need an office. They've got all of these wages, and then they've got to pay people overtime to go see people on a Saturday, where our franchisees work from home. They don't need all of these overheads whatsoever. They don't need their own dev team. They don't need their own marketing team. All of that, comes from us. So they're literally using their own car, using their own laptop, using their own mobile phone. There's no setup cost where you need anything. And they're going to see people. And generally, they're not traveling more than half an hour to go see a customer, because, our goal is to, how many franchisees? It's just to cover an area where people aren't traveling more than half an hour is what I look at. So, a solar business, so for instance, it can be in Keysborough, but the customer is on the other side of the city. It's so inefficient to drive an hour and a half, where we've got someone there who's 15 minutes away from that customer and you're local. So our business model works really, really well on cutting those overheads. They just need a home office.
And is it mainly like young families or family franchisees that own these? Or is it mixed?
It's just a mix. I think... we got one franchisee that's, I think he's about 26. He was an electrician by trade, and then he wanted to get into retail, and he really he's been really grateful for the business mentoring and understanding how retail works. And there's no way he could have done it by himself. Super successful now, really hard worker. He knows he's got the opportunity now to really do well. And then we've got people who have got young kids that want to provide for them. And then we've got other people where their kids are out of their home and they're like, okay, now my kids are out of the home, I can actually start my own business where I'm not under the pressure of having, kids in school and my wife not working. They actually go, now I'm in the position where I can own my own business. So literally every part of the spectrum.
And to get it to where it is, you've never had to go to market, raise capital. It's all been bootstrapped.
Yeah, it's all been me. It's been a really tough journey to get there. But
so you've got no external investors or anything like that?
No, I'm the business owner. I'm the director. I'm just super passionate about the business.
Yeah,
I want to just keep on driving it.
Yeah, and is that something you ever consider to inject it, to get it to scale it?
Look, we're in the process of scaling now. We put on 2 franchisees last month. We've got 2 new franchisees coming on this month, and we've already got another 3 or 4 potential in the following month. So, we're in that transition of, we've nailed it. Now we're just scaling our business. So I think I'm a while off that. I love it too much to give anything away.
Yes, love it.
So I'm not there yet.
I think next part is with how's it affected your family life? I know you mentioned the basketball thing, but just generally, it's most business owners would lie when they'll say it has had no effect on the family life. It'll go through an up and down. It'll usually be a down where there'll be a point of chaos where there's almost destruction. That'll usually come back. But have you gone through that sacrifice process and have learned from a bit of that as well?
Absolutely. When I started SolarRun, I reckon first 3-4 years of business, I was starting work at 6 a.m. and I probably wasn't getting home till 7:38. I was lucky to see my kids go to bed. I was lucky if that actually happened. And that was 6 days a week. I basically Monday to Friday, and then basically all day Sunday, and spent a bit of time, on the family with it on Saturday. So been through all of that. And that was a really long journey. You're moving so fast and there's so much work to do, and you don't have the money to employ someone to do all that work for you. Yeah. So you are doing absolutely everything. And, now I have that little bit of, work-life balance where I still work, but now I've got options now. I don't work on Saturday because my kids have got all of their sports. If I need to catch up on work, I've got the Sunday. Yeah. But for me, my Saturdays is the one day I just, my kids know I'm always at their basketball games or football games. That's the one thing I've got. But it's taken me a while to get there.
In many ways, your franchisees don't have to do as much of that sacrifice that you did.
No, there's nowhere close to that. And that's the part of all of it's pre-done for them. If they were to start their own business, that's when, and it's not a franchise, that's when they're working those massive hours and they're pedaling the wheel and not sure if they're actually going forward or not. So all of that hard work is done for them. They don't need to worry about, about building a website, building systems, building branding, building the marketing. None of that is, bringing sales in the door from day dot. All of that's done for them. They've got a ready-built business to come in, follow a process, and they'll make money.
Yeah, it's a huge bet.
And it's huge, massive.
Yeah, I was going to say, touching on that, so we just kind of mentioned what franchisees come in with. So just go into more information detail. So someone comes in, they sign up, they tick all the boxes, they are a good fit for your business, they like it, you like each other. What is the next steps and what do they get when they come on board?
So when they come on board, they get a week's worth of training. And generally that's, 3 days of, learning about the solar industry, how to do designs and everything about how to sell solar. And then 2 days of sales training. And then they also get a website when they come straight on board as well. So they can actually go to advertising platform, and then support when they come on board. And we've got a franchise growth manager where his job is there to help them grow their business. That's his only job, is he wants them to succeed, and he's out there, going to their appointments, helping them grow their business. Today, he's out with one of the franchisees, and he's literally coaching them on how to make phone calls. And part of that was, Labor's just announced the battery rebate. So he's, calling, he's got over 300 or 400 installed customers that absolutely love him. So, he's coaching him how to actually call these customers and book appointments. They booked 9 appointments in like 3 hours. 9 appointments, I mean, the people that already bought from you, so he's going to convert out of 9, maybe 7. Just out of that, there's probably like 20, 30 grand's worth of profit just in that. So it's the little things. And the guy, he was super appreciative. He was like, oh my God, thank you so much. I just needed this support to, it was just a little couple of pointers to give him that bit of confidence. And he goes, is that all? That was that easy? And I'm like, yes, it's that easy. And we're just going to help him make that money. And now on those appointments, he booked 3 in a day. Franchise growth manager goes out there and, helps him close those appointments. That's his job. So he's just there to help people make sales and grow their business. And honestly, that's the most enjoyable. Like when I heard that story on the way in, I'm like, oh my God, like I love what I do and I love hearing these stories. And I go home and tell my wife these same stories. Like it's like I've helped this guy make money. Like my business has helped him do that. And it's so satisfying.
Yeah, you've really empowered these guys.
Oh, it's super exciting. Like that's a lot of money that
man is a lot of money.
It's
in a week.
Yeah, correct. And it's just as simple as going calling up your old customers, now that the rebate's there. Hey, is there something you're looking at? I'd love to do that. And the customers have said, I'm not interested. He sent a text message for Google reviews and started getting Google reviews from the people that didn't end up saying yes. And it was that easy. I mean, he's still got another 250 customers to call.
So check in with you at the end of the week how you went.
So now he's going to go to those appointments and then next Monday make another set of phone calls, book another 10 appointments and keep on going. Like, he just keep, he's like printing money at the moment. It's so easy for the guy. But he's saving people money. Like, I would ask a franchisee, like me personally, what do I love most about SolarRun? Going out to see customers is you're saving them money. You're actually changing their financial position within their home, and they're better off with solar and got more money to spend on their family. And, franchisees love what they do as well. And that's when I talk about what do you love about this most? And it's that you're actually affecting people's bank balances to be, in the positive way. You're not selling the TV they don't need on interest free and all that type of stuff. Like, this literally helps them better their life.
And you're like a super enthusiastic guy. Like you're genuine about the whole thing. Do you think that's affected the culture of the company, just your personality?
Yeah, because I'm just so passionate about what I do. And even when I'm talking to potential franchisees, I often get the comment, you love what you do. I go, I absolutely love what I do.
Yeah.
And, you rub off to other people and to customers that they sense this guy really loves what he does and they're going to be successful.
Yeah, and they know you're in it for the right genuine reason.
And what are you doing outside of work? Like business, apart from business? I know people say work-life balance, but if you're running it, I often question if it even exists. There's like a work-life choice.
Yes, life balance.
Sorry? What was that? Sorry?
I said yes, work-life balance.
No, to a point, if you're owning it, it just doesn't exist. Like it's meshed with your whole life. You got like a work-life choice, or you integrate all your decisions based around your.
Well, you got for me, I've got limited time. So, what's most important for me is my family. Like my family, my brothers and sisters and all that type of stuff. So it's my kids and, always going to see my dad. My dad comes over nearly every Sunday for dinner. My kids are very similar age to my brother's kids. So we're always going out. It's like it's family. Like I genuinely just love seeing my family and friends. Like that's what I get the most enjoyment out of life. Is seeing them on the weekends.
Yeah, excellent. And are they all a similar mindset to you?
Well, out of 4 of us, 3 of us own businesses. so pretty, they're pretty similar.
Yeah, right.
I think that just comes from my dad, owning his own business and working hard. He came to Australia when he was 22 with absolutely nothing. It's one of those stories you always hear. Hey, came from Croatia, 22, came by himself, worked his ass off. And then had enough money, bring my mum over.
Yeah.
And then they started a life together. But it was always, hard work. I think he said He worked 7 days a week for 8 months straight. Like, that's what they had to do back then.
Yeah.
And then he worked, really hard so he can provide for us and, to make our lives easier. And we working super hard to make it easier for our kids. And I just sort of learnt that from him. And I just want to do the best for your family. So he was a builder. Okay. So when he first started, came to Australia, he was a labourer, and then he goes, I want more money, became a bricklayer, and then he's like, hey, I want to become a carpenter. So then he became a carpenter, and then after that, he started, he bought a block of land and built a house. Like, he used to build a double-story home and brick the whole house by himself, put scaffold up, like literally. He built that house, done the roofing, the timber, everything. So, and I think that's what he got. His mentality as well. Like, if you don't know it, he used to just learn it. I used to, when I was doing electrical, I'd just say yes, yes, yes to everything. And then once I get the jobs, then I'll figure out how to get it done.
And that mindset that you inherit from, you could almost say like an immigrant background, is a huge benefit. It's only, when you're young, you may not appreciate it. But when you start getting mature, you realize the work ethic, the mindset, the family ethos these people had when they came here. It really reverberates into how you conduct your life and how it actually leads to a successful business. I always find that really interesting. Like, people, like, back when you were young, you may not appreciate it, but when you start getting older and older, it really affects you.
You do. I've got one story about my dad. Like, my dad was a super hard worker. I think I was a second-year apprentice. I'm never ever sick. And I was sick one morning. My dad comes, you got to go to work. He ripped the doonas off my bed and he goes, you got to go to work. I put the doonas back on. He comes in screaming and yelling, you have to go to work. I don't care. You're sick. You're going to lose your job. And then I left home. I was at McDonald's. I had the heater cranking. I'm in my car shaking. I'm that sick. Then when my dad went to work, my mum calls me back and says, come home. Like, I was super sick, but his mentality is, your boss is paying you. You can't afford to lose your job. You're going to work. And so I'm never sick, but this one day I was gone. And it was just that mentality of, that's how he grew up. He could not afford not to go to work.
Yeah.
Just, because he was sick. He had to provide for his family. He wanted to give me that same work ethic, and I did even then I sort of understood what a while. Like, I wasn't upset about him. I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. Like, that's what he had to live with, and he's trying to give me that same knowledge. And I say,
scared to get sick.
Yeah,
maybe that's why I don't get sick anymore.
Sometimes it goes to the extreme. I remember one time I had a 105 degrees temperature, and I was like a young kid. I was like, oh, look, there's something wrong in my head. It's exploding. And I said, they better go to school. You got to go to school. And then that was an extreme example, because if I hadn't gone to the doctor, I would have had like a permanent brain damage. But I did get enough going to the doctor. But I think that idea behind it is that there is that mental toughness that comes along with it. And if you don't have that with a business, you're really going to struggle, right? The ability to take on, hey, like, almost you're getting arrows from all angles, and the ability to withstand it, then work around that, learn from that, and move that into something positive. If you can create that mindset, it's extremely useful. And the fact you've taken that, systematized it, and turned it into something other people leverage off so they don't have to go through that is like a rewarding thing.
Say, like, I've gone through all that pain. That's why I want to make it as easy as possible, for these franchisees, so they don't have to go through the same pain. I've owned my own business from scratch. I know how hard it is, and I'm just trying to make it easier for them. And that's the thing, well, for me especially, like, when you get all those times where you get put in a corner, like, it's very easy to go, hey, this is way too hard, and give up. And that's where you're like, no, I've actually got to work harder. Like, I find the harder business, gets, the harder you got to work. But people like that's when they struggle and they go, hey, I can't do this. Well, you got to step up to the plate. And that's what I've always been. Dad's given me that same mentality, and then it will get easier. And that's why I love hardworking franchisees, and that's why they succeed the most, because you've got to work hard in business. It's, you go through your ups and downs.
Yeah.
And you had a sports background as well. Like you had a few. We've also found when we get all our thousands of inquirers, people who may have done team sports or played with, like, it's a little bit different to be like a hardworking, zany entrepreneur that can create a new industry versus bringing someone in who can follow the system. Is there anything you're seeing that with people who've maybe been in teams or played sports or anything like that that matches their ability to follow this system? Maybe even been in companies before.
I think people who've been in team environments, in their business, they've been part of teams, because being part of the team is what sort of franchising is. Just had someone literally, join SolarRun 2 weeks ago. He's ran his own solar business for 10 years. And, he's come to SolarRun because he wants to expand and make things better and have processes and all that type of stuff. And the one thing, he goes, we had a chat to him 2 weeks ago. He's like, the one thing I, knew that I had to come in, I had to, before it was all about me. And he even realized before that now it's us in this. And it was a bit of a change for him, but, he knows it's for the better for his business. So you are definitely team players for sure. And you're helping each other out.
It's what the word is, isn't it? Entrepreneurs work really well in franchising because there's someone who has that desire to grow and that desire to build, but they want to do it with a system and be guided by someone else.
And just have someone there as a sounding board and help and support them. Like, that's the thing. I never had that. And, it's hard without it. And that's why people join franchising, because the system's there, like the support's there, you got someone to talk to. Say, business is very lonely as a business owner, and we're trying to make that journey, less lonely.
Yeah, and the fact you're in the industry, it's not going to go any besides up. The sun's not going anywhere.
Everyone was like, what happens when everyone's got solar? Well, on a weekly basis, we're ripping off old solar systems and installing new ones. It's like everyone owns a car, but the car business is not dying. Everyone's buying a new one. Technology is changing.
And would you say you're like not so much a political bent, would you say you're a renewables advocate across the board? Or it's mainly this stream you're really into?
I'm whatever's going to save people money. Like, I'm not, to be honest, a massive greenie or anything like that. What I love about our industry is we're saving people money is the biggest thing. And that's via solar.
Yeah.
And yes, and for me, the other tick is, yes, it's saving the environment, but ultimately, why do I do this? To save people money financially. And yes, we're saving the environment are two good things happening at the same time.
Yeah. Okay.
And people can control their own destiny with their electricity bill, the whole lot.
Beautiful.
I mean, for us, I think we sort of mentioned before that we also do, heating and cooling, and hot waters and EV chargers. So, systems that were okay back then are not okay now because they've got to go bigger and bigger.
Yeah, and even now with Labor coming in as well, there's all the new rebates.
Yeah, the rebates are absolutely massive. So, potentially if someone wants a 50 kilowatt hour battery, the rebates are like 18,500. So for the general household, it can be that high if that's the battery storage that you want. The general, homeowner is going to get between $4,500 and $5,000 rebates. That's why we're going back to all of our old customers saying, hey, you've got solar. The feed-in tariffs are down to like less than 0.5 cent. So
and when do those rebates come in?
They come in on the 1st of July.
No. If you buy the system, when do you get that money back?
So we allow to install the systems on the 1st of July, and you get the rebates back instantly. So when we quoting now, and it's minus the rebate price, and we're starting to install those the 1st of July.
Yep.
So it's humongous for the industry. Like I say, everyone that's got solar is existing solar is now buying a battery. Before maybe 30 or 40% of our customers who bought solar buy a battery, like that's going to go up to 90%. Like no one's nearly going to buy a solar without a battery. It just does not make financial sense anymore.
So boom times Ed, isn't it? And I don't, no offense to anyone, I don't see anyone really doing it as well as you guys out there. But
like not on our scale, not with our coverage, not with our systems. Like I say, I've had people in the solar industry come and look at, SolarRun as a franchise and they go, I've never seen something like what you guys have got. And, I work in a larger solar business or I have my own business. What we've got is very unique to the industry. And it gives the opportunity for these guys to scale. So it's very different.
Have you gotten some guys that have come from doing the rebates across? Was that what you were telling me the other day?
So we've got, there is a lot of businesses out there doing, just hot waters and, just heating and cooling. So we got a franchisee in December who was, out there selling, hot waters for someone. And that's why he's like, hey, hot waters is a part of this electrification of Victoria and Australia. So he's like, he saw the opportunities. Hey, I don't want to just sell hot waters. I want to sell hot waters, heating and cooling and solar. They all come together. So someone who buys a heating and cooling system, they're going from gas to electric. Yes, their electricity bill is going to increase, but it's still half the cost of running your heater on gas. And because now you've upgraded, now, hey, I need solar.
Because what you're doing, it's not just panels, it's a whole ecosystem of products and services that work together. And I'm not sure everyone has caught onto that or built that ecosystem like you have. How does all work together, like heating and cooling and solar and cleaning of the panels and things like that? How does that all work together to what you have?
Yeah, we literally start from the start is like, hey, someone says, I want solar. Okay, what have you got in your home? Okay, I've got gas this or gas that. Okay, where do you want to end up? And they say, hey, I want to, change my heating and cooling. So we just go through that whole process and we say, okay, your gas heater's 20 years old. It's costing you $3-4 grand just in winter. That's going to die soon. Let's upgrade your heating and cooling system. There's up to $7,000 rebates on changing your heating and cooling system. And then it gets onto the conversation of, hey, give my gas hot water system. It's 15-20 years old. Gas hot waters generally last 12 to sort of 15 years old. That's going to die. Okay, let's now move that to gas. But all of a sudden, there's nothing left except their cooktop. And then you have the conversation about the cooktop. And we've had, it's becoming more and more common now that people are literally in one full sweep. We're getting solar, heating and cooling, hot water heat pumps, and getting their cooktop. And they only want to be dealing with the one company. They don't want to get 3 quotes from solar, 3 quotes for heating and cooling, 3 quotes for heat pumps. We literally wrap it all up in one package. And, over a week, they literally got no more gas in their home. They disconnect their gas meter. They save another $365 just because they're not paying $1 a day to have it. And there's a big movement towards going all electric. It is so much cheaper. Like I tell customers, you can't make your own gas, but you can make your own electricity. If you've got gas, you're always going to be stuck with it. And that's why people are realizing now they can't make their own fuel for their car. But hey, if you go all electric, your solar panels are charging your car. Like even if you don't have solar, charging your electric car is like $5 for a full tank. I remember 4 weeks ago, I was mowing the lawn and, the jerry can was empty. I went to the servo and filled it up. It was $8 to fill my jerry can petrol. And I just looked at my car and go, this whole car cost me maximum $5 to charge my whole car. And I could, it's a full tank. And just this jerry can cost me more, $8. It cost me more than what it does to fill up my car in electric. Like, once people start understanding this whole concept, you'll never go back.
Yeah.
It's the best thing ever.
It's the best thing. And when people are actually saving money or making money on something, it's far easier to convince them versus you're doing this with an altruistic motive to save the world. But if you're combining both of these, you're on a winner, I think.
It's so easy. Like customers, when you're in front of them, they just get it. Like you don't really even have to convince them. You just play the story of the way all of this looks and the way energy efficiency and the way they're going to save money. And, people are purchasing with their pockets. And I say with rebates involved, like it's literally a no-brainer. Like very hard for a customer to say no.
And so how do people get in touch with you, become a franchisee?
So they've got a couple of ways, go to the Eden website, inquire through there. We've got our SolarRun website as well. There's a franchise page with a lot of information. Book an appointment there and we'll give you a call. And then basically we have a 5-minute chat over the phone. see if if this is something that might suit you. Come into the office, and we discuss it further.
Beautiful. So we're going to have a few contact us boxes near the podcast. Put your name down. We'll get your journey going with SolarRun. Look, apart from that, Anthony, it's been great. I think good to get a bit more about your background, what motivated you to get to where you are. I think it's great to hear about the success of the franchise, the number of franchisees that are kicking goals and growing with it, and also that aspiration you have about the global trajectory was really interesting. So I think love to continue on that journey with us and come back for an update to let our audience know how you're going as well.
Thanks. Love being here. Appreciate it.
Beautiful.
Cool.
Excellent stuff.
Cheers.